In this segment, we're going to take a look at the zoom tool and the measuring tool, and those are found over here on the left-hand toolbar. This is the measuring tool, and this is the zoom tool. Now, the zoom tool has some options. If I just click and hold on the tool, you can see that we've got zoomed in, we've got zoom previous, we've got zoom all, and we've got panning. So I'll go ahead and choose zoom in. And what I can do is left click and drag to create a box, and it'll zoom right to the box that I created. Now that's the zoom in tool, and I can also zoom in. I have a scroll mouse attached to my computer, and if I scroll forward, you'll see that it zooms in, and if I scroll down, it zooms out. So that's another way that you have to easily zoom in and zoom out. Now, what I found is that if I zoom, it has to do with where your mouse is. So for example, if I zoom out and I place my mouse here over top of this oval and zoom in, that's where I'm zooming to. And if I zoom out and place my mouse, let's say here, then that's where I zoom to. So you can zoom in and zoom out that way. You can also try the zoom previous. So for example, if I choose zoom previous, it will take me back to the previous, I guess, zoom selection that I'd made. So these are different ways that you can, get a little bit closer look at your design, move out. You also have the option for zoom all, which would give you everything on your screen so that visible at one time. And we also have the panning. So I guess, for example, when you use panning, you can click and drag to move your screen around. So if I scroll my mouse to zoom in, and then I want to, I can use the panning to click and drag and move the mouse to be wherever I wanted it to be. So that's called panning. Now to let go of panning, I need to choose a different tool. It could be the selection tool or a different zoom tool, but otherwise if I choose panning, it just keeps panning until I choose the next option. So if we go to the zoom in tool, click and drag a box, that's what you zoom into. Scroll to zoom out. There's also options for the zoom tools under the edit drop-down menu, under the view drop-down menu, where it says zoom. You can zoom in, zoom previous, or zoom all. And what it's showing us here is these are what you would call the hotkeys. So if I say zoom all, it's actually the hotkey of F4. And so if I simply zoom in and then type on my keyboard F4, it'll take me out again. So there's different options of ways that you can travel around your workspace. Now, I said I'd look at the measuring tool, so why don't we get a little closer to something. And let's just say you wanted to measure the distance between these two shapes. You would come over here to your measuring tool, and you'll notice that my mouse now has a little ruler attached to it. And when I click and then drag, you can see that I'm actually moving at what looks like a little metric ruler. Actually, it's in inches at the moment, and it's showing me that I'm 0.3 of an inch, and I can change that just by, as I drag my ruler, it shows me longer and longer, and it just keeps measuring. I can measure as many times as I want. Maybe I'll scroll to zoom out, measure the distance here, how far is the design, and so you just click and drag to measure. Now if you want to let go, you can right click to let go of using that measuring tool. So choose measuring tool, measure something, okay, we're good, right click to let go. And yeah, so that's the measuring tool. And notice when I hover over here, it says measure, and it tells me F9. So F9 would be the hotkey on your keyboard. The F9 key would be the hotkey on your keyboard to choose the measuring tool. So that's one other way that you can select using the measuring tool. So that's how to use the zoom tool and how to use your measuring tool.